Hi, I'm Lance Roberts, and I'm here with a special edition of our recent interview with Raoul Pal. He's the head of realvision.com. And of course, after the interview stopped, we kept the tape rolling and we talked about cryptocurrency and investing in crypto with Raoul Pal. It's a great segment of lost tapes right here on the Lance Roberts Show podcast. Yeah, don't jump off yet. Raoul, wanted to ask you something real quick about cryptocurrency.
Yeah. That was great. That was great, by the way. You asked great questions.
Oh, thank you. I did want to talk to you about cryptocurrency because, one of the things that's been talked about lately is cryptocurrency as a safe asset. And, my view on cryptocurrency is that at some point, if it ever gains like real traction to where it really becomes a threat to a monetary authority, the government's going to outlaw it and say, under the Constitution, there can only be one legal tender and cryptocurrency isn't it. It'll be a Fed currency. It'll be a government currency, something else. But I can't imagine governments letting crypto get out of control to where they don't have control over monetary flows. Am I thinking about that right?
I think this is moving so fast and so extraordinarily that I don't think any of us can understand the outcomes. So let me give you a couple of things. Mm-hmm. Firstly, there is a guy I just stumbled across last week who has modeled, using deep maths, has modeled Bitcoin valuation based on a stock flow model and put it alongside gold, silver, platinum, palladium, diamonds, and put it into this model. Mm-hmm. And basically it perfectly predicts the price of Bitcoin based on the amount of supply and demand.
Okay.
Forward. So, and what he proved, it has extremely similar characteristics to gold, and its value will probably, over time, as the number of Bitcoins reduces in terms of the amount of mining, will exceed gold in value terms in its overall market cap.
Right. And
it showed that the other things like silver, because it's part industrial, part precious, didn't kind of fit in with it. So what he's basically saying is Bitcoin is here to stay as a rare asset, and it has a value. So that was interesting to me, but it doesn't have to be the central bank asset. It could be, like I said, to gold. It could be one of our personal reserve assets.
Right.
But when you look at what Facebook did, it was super interesting. So Facebook, whether this happens or not, I think it probably won't, but Facebook's Libra thing was a genius thing, because what they said is, we're going to create a stable currency based on all the world's major currencies, including US dollars. So that means when you look at normally a currency index like the DXY, it's in dollar terms. This would be dollars offset against it. So it would be basically stable global currency. Now, what they've said is anybody can do this because it's just a basket of existing currencies. So no central bank can stop it. So they may try and regulate it, who holds the assets and that kind of thing, but it's created a real thing. Now, you and I would find it useful to have a stable currency that wasn't the dollar moving up and down or whatever currency we're using, that we can have a way of passing goods and services around the world and knowing that we have a stable exchange rate just based on, I guess it would just be driven up and down by inflation and a few other bits and pieces globally. So I think that's coming. And whether that comes from the central bank, the IMF, or somebody else, or from the private sector, and there's an Amazon version or a Facebook version, I don't know. But I honestly think that was one of the biggest things that I've seen with that shift.
Yeah, no, I think the whole thing I find very fascinating. For me, it's always the question of when does government say, that's enough. We want to maintain, we want control of this. We want to know when it's printed, how it's printed, who owns it, where it is, IRS too, obviously. But one of the things I saw recently, and I had to chuckle myself, is that a guy made a comment. He says, well, I'd rather own crypto than gold. And I emailed him back. I said, no, personally for me, I want to own two things. I want to own gold and lead, because in the event, the reason I own gold is if we have an economic crisis, an economic collapse, there is no internet. Your crypto's gone, right? But I can still barter in gold. And if I've got lead, I can go to California because they don't like the Second Amendment out there, and I can get all the gold I need. So that's just my view.
Yeah, I'm actually of the opinion, honestly, it's gold and Bitcoin.
Yeah. I think as long as the internet works, I think Bitcoin's a great thing, right?
I think, look, it's interesting. It may be wrong, but so I think of it this way is, if you have, let's say you have 10% of your assets in gold and 1% in Bitcoin.
Yep.
Well, Bitcoin could go up 50-fold from here, or it could go to zero. It's actually not going to change. If it goes to zero, it's not going to change your wealth at all on the downside. If it goes up 50-fold, guess what? It will offset a ton of stuff on the upside. So
Absolutely.
the skewed risk reward, because gold doesn't have that ability. Gold may go up 5-fold, 3-fold, whatever it is.
Yep.
Still a big number, but it won't go up as much as Bitcoin will just because of the adoption and everything else. So I just think it's both of them that kind of makes sense. It's a barbell strategy.
Oh, and I think from an investment, and that's why I made the comment too. I said, as far as an investment strategy goes, we talk about diversification. You can't be diversified in the stock market, right? If you own small cap, mid cap, large cap, international, emerging markets, they all go up and down at the same time. There is no real diversification in that. But when you start to break out into things like gold, Bitcoin, other areas that actually do have a negative correlation, or at least a somewhat negative correlation to the financial markets in some cases, that's actual real diversification. If something goes wrong, money's flying to safety. I think that's a great thing to be. I think too many people focus on the stock market with expectations that, this rally we've had this year is here to stay, and we're going to be up another 20, 30, 40% in the next couple of years, regardless of whether we have a recession or not. I think that's going to play out very poorly for people over the next 18 months.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
That was our special lost tapes version of our recent interview with Raoul Pal, the head of realvision.com. And of course, get their free service at realvision.com/free. But that was a bit of the lost tapes that you got right here on the Lance Roberts Show podcast about crypto. Stick around. Catch us next time for the next edition of the Lance Roberts Show podcast right here at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You can get daily real investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet. Sign up for Lance's newsletter now at realinvestmentadvice.com.